From Washington, I'm Christopher Cruz. Reports say the presidents of Sudan and South Sudan have agreed to deals on security, oil, and the border between the two countries. The agreements include restarting southern oil exports through northern pipelines. They were announced Saturday in Ethiopia, where the leaders of the two countries were meeting with Ethiopia's Prime Minister and an African Union negotiator. Border crossings will be reopened for trade. Troops will be withdrawn from disputed border areas, and a police force will be created in the important oil area of Abyei. Disputes over oil and borders almost caused a war between the two countries last April. Reports from the Central African Republic say a rebel coalition has captured at least one more town. The move comes just days before the rebels are to begin negotiating with government officials. Reports from the government and from people who live near the town of Bambari say the newly captured town is in the same area. The Associated Press reports a person in the nearby town of Alindao says that town has been captured. The rebels have captured a series of towns and villages over the past month. The peace talks are to begin Tuesday in Libreville, Gabon. Venezuela's National Assembly has re-elected a supporter of President Hugo Chavez as Speaker. Diosdado Cabello could become president if Mr. Chavez leaves office or dies. On Saturday, when he was sworn in as Speaker, Mr. Cabello promised to defend what he called the Chavez Revolution. Mr. Chavez is in Cuba, where he has been suffering medical problems after a cancer operation. He has not been seen in public for more than 3 weeks. Mr. Chavez won his 4th presidential election in October. 4 people have died violently in the city of Aurora, Colorado. That is the city where 12 people were killed and 58 wounded in a shooting at a movie theater last July. In the incident on Saturday, a suspect was killed in a home when police entered. It is not clear if police shot him or if he shot himself. Police found 3 other people shot dead inside the home. 1 person was able to leave the house without being hurt. President Obama gave his weekly radio talk to the nation Saturday, saying he has kept his promise to America by working with Congress to change tax laws. He says these laws too often help the wealthy at the expense of the middle class. In the weekly Republican speech to the nation, Congressman David Kemp from the state of Michigan called on lawmakers to identify responsible ways to end what he called Washington's wasteful spending. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English from Washington. Syria's President Bashar al-Assad will speak to the Syrian people on Sunday. Syria's state news agency Sana said Mr. Assad will, in the agency's words, speak about the latest developments in Syria. The speech will be the first from Mr. Assad in months. He will speak as rebels and government forces continue to clash near the capital, Damascus. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported fighting on Saturdays in areas south of Damascus. The rights group said at least 10 people were killed. More than 60,000 people have died during the country's almost 2-year-long civil war. Afghan President Hamid Karzai met on Saturday in the capital, Kabul, with the director of the Security Council of Iran. The meeting happened 2 days before Mr. Karzai flies to Washington, where he will meet with President Obama. Mr. Karzai said Saturday that Afghanistan and Iran are two brother countries sharing a language and culture. Iranian Security Council Director Saeed Jalili said relations between Afghanistan and Iran are good, and that the countries have a common history and culture. He said Iran wants the relationship between the two countries to become stronger. Indian police have brought charges against an Indian television station for showing an interview with a male friend of a young Indian woman who was raped last month. She died last week. The man was with her during the attack and was also beaten. New Delhi police said they filed the charges against ZTV because the broadcast could lead to the woman being identified. Indian law protects the privacy of rape victims. The Committee to Protect Journalists has urged Indian officials not to bring the charges against ZTV. The interview marked the first time the man has spoken publicly about the December 16th attack. And finally at this hour, a fish has sold for $1.7 million at a Tokyo fish market. The amount paid Saturday for the bluefin tuna set a world record. It was bought by the owner of the Koyoshi Kimura restaurants. It weighed almost 222 kilograms. Japanese eat about 80% of the bluefin tuna caught worldwide.